The sparrow and the bread crust. There's a moment, just before hunger becomes desperation, when the world sharpens into something painfully clear. And on a frost-bitten morning at the edge of an old stone village, a tiny brown sparrow felt that moment settle on her wings like ice. Snow clung to the rooftops. Chimneys pushed thin threads of smoke into a pale sky. The sparrow, small, tired, and trembling, hopped along the frozen path that led behind the bakery. She knew this place well. She knew its smells, its warmth, its promise. But today, the ground was bare. No crumbs, no crusts, not even a grain of flour. The baker had swept the alley clean. The sparrow chirped in confusion, soft, thin, hopeful. Nothing answered. Even the wind refused her. She fluttered upward, wings stiff from cold, and perched on the wooden window ledge. Inside, she could see a mountain of bread still cooling on the counter. Soft loaves, golden crusts, and pastries so warm the air shimmered above them. She chirped again, and the baker turned. For a heartbeat, their eyes met. And for a heartbeat, she believed he might spare her a crumb. But he simply waved her away. The sparrow fell back into the air, heart heavier than her weight. She drifted to the village square, where she spotted something extraordinary, a feast. A long table from the harvest festival still sat abandoned, covered in food left to the cold, half-eaten pies, roasted vegetables, stale rolls, meat bones scattered like forgotten memories. A feast wasted. The sparrow dove toward it. But just as she reached the table, a loud call split the air. A murder of crows descended, slamming onto the boards, wings beating like thunder. The sparrow swerved, barely escaping a beak aimed for her. She landed beneath the table, heart racing. The crows tore into the leftovers, fighting, stealing, wasting even more in their frenzy. Huge chunks of food hit the ground, untouched. She was too small, too slow, too outmatched, and soon the crows flew off, full-bellied, yet leaving half the feast behind. But the sparrow didn't rise. The food was too big to tear, too dry to swallow, too heavy to carry, so much, and still nothing she could eat. Her strength slipped again. By afternoon the snow deepened, her wings felt leaden. She perched on the fence outside the village, watching the gray sky swallow what little light remained. Just one crumb, she thought, just enough to make it to tomorrow. As the world dimmed, a soft crunch sounded behind her. The sparrow turned. A child, a small boy bundled in wool, stood with a heel of bread in his mittened hands. He tore off a piece no bigger than the sparrow's eye and gently placed it on the fence beside her. The sparrow froze. Then, trembling, she hopped closer. Peck, peck, peck. Warmth spread through her chest. Energy tingled back into her wings. Tears sparkled in the boy's eyes as he whispered, "There you go, little one." And when the final crumb was gone, he smiled as if he'd given her the world. Because he had. With renewed strength, the sparrow lifted into the fading sky. Not high, not far, but enough. Enough to reach the bare branches she called home. Enough to last the night. Enough to survive. And that tiny crust, smaller than the feast wasted by the crows, fed her longer, helped her more, and meant more to her heart than all the abundance she could not touch. Sometimes the smallest gift lasts the longest. Sometimes the smallest kindness carries the greatest weight. And sometimes one little crust is enough to change everything. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to help the channel grow.